Hi guys, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Pergear 100mm f2.8 2x macro lens. So before I go out there in the field and get some photos with this lens, I just want to quickly talk about the specifications. This lens is for full frame sensors. It works on E, Z, L, RF and EF mount. The lens is fully manual, which means you'll have to manually focus and manually change your aperture on the lens. The focus ring is smooth and it goes from 2x magnification all the way to infinity, meaning as well as macro you can use this for any other sort of photography. The aperture goes from f2.8 to f22 and the aperture ring itself is declicked. I would personally prefer a clicked aperture ring, just so I don't accidentally change my aperture when I'm out in the field. The build quality is really nice and the whole lens feels like it's made out of metal. And it kind of shows because the lens weighs about 790 grams. This is a lot heavier than the Pergear 60mm 2x macro lens I reviewed last year. One thing Pergear is really good at is making their lenses affordable. And this lens costs only £260. So I think that's enough talking and it's time to go out there and get some shots with this lens. So I'm out here in the field now with the lens and as you can see it's really snowy and I'm not sure what sort of subjects I'm going to find because I've never shot macro in the snow properly. But I'm going to try and get a mixture of shots. I'm going to get some at 2x magnification and I'm going to get some normal shots as well. For my first subject I found this leaf coming off this frosty branch and there's loads of snow around it, so I think the scene will look quite clean and the background will look quite nice as well with the light and the colour of the trees. So this would be great to show off the non-macro capabilities of this lens. So I think for non-macro I can get away with using the lower apertures like f2.8 and f4 because you won't really see close up in detail. Whereas when I'm doing macro you'll see every single detail, so I prefer using f5.6 to f11 for macro work. I think I can shoot handheld because it's quite bright out today. The snow is making it bright as well. And my shutter speed is coming out at about 1/1000th, so that is definitely good for handheld. Of course this is a manual lens, so to focus on my subject I'll frame up the shot and then I'll twist the focus ring to get my focus. And I'm using focus peaking to see if my subject's in focus. So when it turns red, that's when I know my subject's in focus. My knee is freezing after that shot. I was just knelt in the snow for a good minute. So I'm shooting the same subject again, but I'm using a flash and diffuser this time and I'm going to go to 2x magnification and get a close-up of the frost on this twig here. So settings wise for this shot, I've set my ISO to 400 because that's a good starting point. Aperture I've gone f11 because that seems to be quite a sharp aperture and the depth of field is quite nice. And 1/200 shutter speed because that's the sync speed with this flash. And then 1/32 on the flash, it seems to balance out that exposure. Cool, I think I'm quite happy with that shot. And f11, even though it sounds like you would get a lot in focus, because I'm at 2x magnification on a full frame sensor, there's actually not a lot in focus. Right, so I've managed to find some crust fungus, I think it's called. You get a lot of this on the end of logs. And because it's snowy, it's got frost all over it. And I found this tiny one here, which will be great to photograph at 2x magnification. Having it on the right of the frame looks quite nice. Bit of snow in the foreground, and then there's a bigger one on the left of the frame in the background out of focus. And I'm going to be shooting with pretty much the same settings. Cool, that's quite a nice shot. The light looks really nice on these ferns right here, so I think I'm just going to get a shot of this. And it's not going to be macro because they're quite big. And I want to show that it's a fern, so I don't want to go too magnified. But who knows, afterwards I might try to get more magnified and see what it looks like. Alright, so I've got to be quite quick because the sun does go in and out quite a lot when you're in the woods. And that's why I'm not taking off my diffuser, just because I ain't got time. So aperture wise, we'll try f4 again. And then we'll go ISO 400 and shutter speed 1/1000 for this shot. The light is really nice. Might get a little bit more magnified, try and get some ferns in the background as well. I think I'll shoot one at f2.8. It's not the sharpest aperture, but it'll be good to show off the bokeh you get at the lowest aperture. Nice, I think that'll do for the fern shots. We'll move on to another subject now. So I haven't actually moved. I am in the same place because I've noticed a little raindrop that's frozen on here. I think that'll look really nice at 2 times magnification. Go a little slow on the shutter speed just to reveal some more light in the background. I think it might be better to bend it like that, then I can get the angle a lot better. I'll do flash shot. So I think I'm going to walk into the woods a little bit now because I've been on the track, getting stuff at the side of the track for a little bit. See if I can find any different subjects. But on another note, I almost fell over. On another note, my feet are absolutely freezing from standing in the snow for a few minutes while getting each photo. So hopefully my toes make it through this video. But if not, just smash a like anyway. I've just found this absolutely tiny mushroom, and I didn't find it here. I found it underneath a piece of bark, and then I moved it over to here because I saw it was growing out of this leaf. So it'll be a lot easier to photograph now I've placed it here. So let's see what this looks like at 2 times magnification. I actually planned on coming out today to photograph mould and mushrooms, but I think because it's snowed quite a bit over the past day or two, it's probably wiped away all the fungi and stuff. Even this little mushroom here looks a little bit battle scarred. That's a CSGO reference if anyone knows. So we'll try f11 and see if the same settings as before worked. So ISO 400, 1/200 shutter speed and 1/32 on the flash. If not, I'll adjust some of the settings. Cool, I think I'm pretty happy with that. It's quite hard to get a nice shot of it. I think in the end I got one decent composition. So yeah, I'll move on to the next subject, and the next subject is right here. I've just found a little moss strand with a bead of water on the end, and I think that'll look really cool. Oh, I'm at f16. That is the problem with this lens. It doesn't have a clicked aperture ring, and right there I was at f16 even though I wasn't trying to be at f16. I was meant to be at f11. Landscape looks a bit odd composition wise, so I think I'll try and get portrait, but it's just the diffuser is a bit of a problem. As you can see, it's I can't get close enough really. Cool, I think that'll do for that image. And if you're wondering why I shot so many images there, it's because it's hard to see what's in focus, and even if you think it's in focus, you'll get home later and it'll probably be out of focus. So it's always good to shoot quite a few images just to be sure you've got focus. I've just found some tiny little mushrooms growing on this little stump. So yeah, I'm going to pick out a few of these and get a photo at 2 times magnification. These aren't the prettiest mushrooms, but I don't think I'm going to find many mushrooms about, to be honest, because it's just been frosty and snowy a lot recently. I think this one's quite good. I've got a small one in the foreground and then the bigger ones in the back. That gives the subject a lot of scale. I think I'll try photographing these 2 really small ones here, and there's also some even smaller ones in the background, so if I get the right angle you could probably see that sort of composition. I've done a manual focus bracket there by pushing my camera slowly towards my subject. I might stack these images later if I feel like it. If not, I'll just put a single image on screen. So I've just found this leaf with frost around the edge and it's submerged in this snow. So I think this will make for a really nice composition, and it might be good to get up close to show the frost details on the edge. So let's see what we can get. I just got a quick picture of some frost on a piece of grass because that looked really cool. But now I will get onto the main subject. So I think I might actually shoot without flash because I did a quick test shot with the flash and it makes it look quite flat. I think I'll keep the diffuser on, but I'll just turn the flash off just to save me time. I think I'll shoot it less magnified as well. Then I can use an aperture like f5.6. We'll try that. Cool, I think that should do for that shot. It's not as good as I thought it was, but it's still quite a nice shot. And now my knee is freezing because I just knelt in the snow for a good 5 minutes. So I think I've got a fair few good shots with the lens now, and it's time to go back to the studio to give you my final thoughts on this lens. So after editing all my images, I have mostly positive things to say about this lens, but I do have a couple negative things to say. We'll start off with the positives. For a lens that's only 260 quid, the sharpness is really good. Yes, it isn't the sharpest lens I've used, but a 2x magnification lens at that price point, you can't really complain. The bokeh, colours, contrast, and just the image quality in general looks really nice. One thing I really like about this lens is the working distance. Because it's 100mm, that means you get a greater working distance compared to, say, the 60mm by Pergear. And this means the lens will be great for shooting live subjects like bugs, since you don't have to get as close to your subject and you're less likely to scare them away. So I mentioned at the start of the video that the lens has great build quality and weighs a lot. And when I was using this lens with a flash and diffuser, the whole setup became very heavy. The weight might not be a problem for a lot of you, but for me personally, I like to keep my whole setup as light as possible. Another thing I don't really like about this lens is the declicked aperture. There was a couple of times where I knocked my aperture out of place. I think I was shooting at about f11 and then I noticed it was set to f16. It's not a major problem, but say for example you're doing a focus stack and you want all your images to be consistent, you might accidentally knock your aperture and then one of the images isn't consistent, and then that kind of ruins the whole focus stack. But other than that, I think this lens is really good value for money. A lot of other 2x magnification lenses out there on the market are quite expensive. So this lens is quite good for those people who want to try out 2x magnification but don't want to spend a lot of money. And if you're interested in this lens, I'll leave a link in the description and that will be an affiliate link. So if you buy through that, I'll get a small commission at no extra cost for you, which helps support the channel. I'll also link the rest of my gear I use, like my camera, tripod and all that stuff. But with all that said and done, I'm going to end today's video here. So if you've enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.